I would like to invite Brother Adil, who are going to recite a naat for us, inshallah. So can you come to the stage, brother, and recite nasheed, and inshallah we will then commence with the program. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulallah wa sallam alayka ya Habiballah. Habibi ya Rasulallah, 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 Habibi Ya Rasulallah. Every time I am troubled by a storm of burden in my life, every time I am troubled by a storm of burden in my life, your name alleviates my pain. Habibi Ya Rasulallah, 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 Habibi Ya Rasulallah. How can I talk to overpraise when God Himself praises you? How can I talk to overpraise when God Himself praises you? Your praise will live to see no end. Habibi Ya Rasulallah, your praise will live to see no end. Habibi Ya Rasulallah, 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 Habibi Ya Rasulallah. On Judgment Day when all will fear to stand and speak before their Lord. On Judgment Day when all will fear to stand and speak before their Lord. Upon that day we'll rise and say, Habibi Ya Rasulallah, 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 Habibi Ya Rasulallah.
MashaAllah, Brother Adil, for that beautiful nasheed. Inshallah, the next speaker, Imam Qais, MashaAllah, you are going to be delivering this discourse. MashaAllah, they are a scholar and they, MashaAllah, teach fiqh and many other, you can say, branches of Islam. And today they're going to be discussing about smart fasting, how you can benefit from Ramadan at a deeper level in terms of Islam. So inshallah, without further ado, I would ask Imam Qais to deliver the nasiyah.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyid al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Amma ba'du fa'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام من لم يدع قول الزور وعمل به فليس لله حاجة في أن يدع طعامه والشراب أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Amma ba'd. First and foremost, I'd like to greet and welcome all of you all to this gathering of ours with the fazl and grace and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we shall hopefully try to benefit ourselves, myself especially primarily, and yourselves as well, so that we can come to make our fasting month of Ramadan a more effective and better fast than any other years and any other months of our lives. Many of us are still worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way we used to worship when we were 8 or 9-year-old or a 10-year-old. We have not progressed. But if you say and ask that person, have you physically grown? Yes. What have you done to actually grow physically? Well, you eat the food of a baby, changing from milk to powder food, then to some solid food. Then when the baby is grown and becomes a toddler, then you give him solid food. Then slowly you start giving him roti, or you start giving salad, and you start giving rice. And the baby, and it goes to a child, the child develops into a young adult, and so on. So the body has been nourished and has been given the capability to grow. But because of the fact it's growing, it needs further nourishment, not the same. Now, if you were to give us adults baby milk, you think we're crazy, isn't it? You think, what are you doing? Why are you giving us baby milk for? Now, if you're a fan of Boss Baby cartoon, we're not talking about this now. I'm talking about not the formula milk that you drink and that's it, you'll change it to. We're talking about if a person was to give formula milk to an adult, they'll think you're gone crazy. Say, here, quench your hunger and thirst with this. You will say, this is stupidity, this is ridiculous. How can you quench it? We are adults, we need proper food. Similarly, is that how is it possible that we are still giving the spirit the same food that we used to give when we were young? It means the spirit is supposed to be growing and maturing and supposed to gain bigger and stronger. It's still weak. It's still weak. It's still a baby. It's still in its infancy. And that is something that we need to address. Many of us are going through, the theme of our presentation today is about many of us are going through crises. Some are going through financial crisis, some are going through different crises. So first and foremost, before we start, think about this. Every single one of you, think, including brothers and sisters, you think about this now. What are the crises that people are going through? What crises are people going through? So I gave a bit of hint there. So think about it. Brother, what do you think? What sort of crisis are we going through? Or people go through in life? Financial crisis, okay. Hamza, what do you think? What sort of crisis or crises people go through? Sorry, mental health, that's what. So financial crisis, brother saying, other brother saying mental health. Brother, young brother there, face of the north, go on. Many faces of the north, honestly. In my class we've got two. We've got head of the north and face of the north. So go, what do you think? What sort of crisis are people are going through in life? Huh? Can you think of any? What about yourself? You can't think of any? Okay, mashallah. Brother, in the, what crises are people going through? What do you think people go through? Sorry? Family crisis, good one, family crisis. Brother in the red, what sort of crisis do you think people are going through? So we've got mental, financial, family, relationship. Yes, uncle? Yeah, even the question of crisis of identity crisis. Identity crisis. So we've got relationship crisis, financial crisis, mental crisis, mental health. We've also got identity crisis, who we are, why have we come on the face of this earth? Who are we on the face of the earth? Why on earth are we on earth? Where are we going to go? Who is my creator? Who is my Rabb? This is called the identity crisis. So there are many crises that people are going through and are going through and will go through. So these crises, for example, we had coronavirus. That was a major crisis. The whole world has gone through the crisis of corona and COVID. We went through the COVID crisis and corona just completely stopped and put everything to a standstill. We went through those crises. Now currently we're going through the fuel crisis, financial crisis, living crisis that they're going through. Everybody's worried about this. Everybody's concerned. You see the plaque. Do I put the heating on or do I actually not put it on? Do I put the heating on or do I eat? Do I actually use a car or do I actually walk? Everybody's in a dilemma. But just for 1 second, just think. Which crisis are you going through? There is definitely a crisis you're going through. What sort of crisis are you going? Sometimes people know, but some people are very exuberant and they can tell everybody, oh, I've got this pain. A little bit of hurt here. Oh, look at this, I'm in pain. This is a crisis now. I've cut my finger. Everybody, the whole world knows. Well, some of us keep it hidden. We keep it hidden. Maybe you're going through depression. Maybe you're going through mental illness. Maybe you're going through anxieties. Maybe you're going through other things that we cannot see, people can't see, but you're good to coat it and you're good to hide it. So think about it. Which one are you going through? There might be a crisis in you that nobody knows about. But why does Allah send crisis in the first place? Anybody? It's there. Crisis has been sent. Why? One commonality that you have with crisis is what? Is that it separates. Let's take, for example, the financial crisis. What it's done? It's separated people from the monies and the wealth. A family crisis, it separates the person from the families. Either they're actually passed away, or they're divorced, or they're broken up. The relationship crisis is separating an individual from the loved ones, from the family, from the father, from the mother, from the child, to the siblings. It separates. If we have health crisis, it's separating your health, a sound body, sound mind, it's separating you from a good body to an ill body. Health crisis. So all these different crises that you see, they're all doing what? They're separating. That's the commonality I have. So it separates. Whoever's going through a family crisis or a relation crisis separates from family and friends. Whether there's a death or there's a divorce, one or the other, or break of a relationship, that's what happens. It separates. You are separate from the family. You are separate from your friend. Jobs and businesses. Some people are so indulged in their business, and what happened? The business collapsed. It's finished. It's gone. So what's happened? The crisis has been sent. What? There's a job crisis, business crisis. What's happened? Jobs are gone now. It's been separate. Health, property, wealth, status. Some people are CEO, chairman, president. And what's happened? They lost their role, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has now separated that person from that role. Imams, presidents, chairmen, whoever you are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has now separated you from that. The question is why? Why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has separated us, whatever crisis we're going through? Why has He separated? Simple reason is because He is saying, He's given a message. He's given a message to me and you, oh my servant. Through this and through these things, you have forgotten me. You have forgotten me. like Uncle was saying, is that you've forgotten who I am. You've forgotten why I have sent you in the face of this earth. Those people who were into crypto business, they put in thousands and thousands of pounds. And what happened? Over 1 minute, and that's it, they lost everything. Those people put the money in shares. 1 second, and that's it, they lose everything. People are committing suicide because they've lost so much. Financial crisis comes. 2008, the biggest financial crisis we've had. That's it. It's in the same level now as well. People committing suicide. People are actually destroying their lives because they've lost their money. What do? It's a message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, oh my servant, you've gone so far into this, you've done so much into this, that you've forgotten me, you've forgotten the purpose why I sent you to the face of the earth. Okay, I'll put this crisis upon you so that what? In the hope that you come back to me. So the servant is being separated from the thing that is actually stopping them from going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so that now you can refocus and connect to Him again. So it's a forcefully Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala separates you. It's actually a love, an extreme love from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. An extreme love. If I wasn't really bothered about you and you're going and dying and you're killing yourself, if I really love you, if I really have concern for you, I will make sure I do anything to make you realize to come back. And this is, you could say, an extreme form of love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He loves His servant so much that, oh my servant, come back to me. What are you doing? Where are you going? Come back. And that is why He sent the crisis, to actually make us realize that. So what happens is that we've had crisis. So human being, like Uncle was saying before, is that people are lost. They don't know the identity. So now what we're going to do is explain to ourselves, mind and self, is that human beings are made up of 5 entities, 5 things, 5 elements, 5 entities. One is the body, another is the mind, you have the heart, you have the nafs, or we can call the emotional self, where you have feelings there, and then you have the spirit. Do you all agree with this? Everybody in agreement? Yes? So I'm going to pick the brother in the red because it's beautiful red and it sticks out like a mouse. So I have to pick on you, brother. So me and you are made up of these things. So who am I? We are human beings are made of this. We have a body, we have a mind, we have a heart, we have a nafs, we have a spirit. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, and you look at your wonderful face and say, my gosh, you're looking charming today, honestly. My gosh, honestly, alhamdulillah. When you look at yourself in the mirror, who are you then? Are you the person in the mirror? Yeah. So in these 5 elements, who are we? Are you the body? Are you the mind? Are you the heart? So are you the mind? Are you the heart? Okay, that's a good answer. MashaAllah. You're saying you're the heart. So when we have this, Andy was saying the heart. Okay, somebody else. I'm going to go to you, north, face of the north again. Are you ready? Okay. Who are we? We're human. This is what I'm saying. This is a component of human. So which one in particular, face of the north? Okay. Don't let the northerners down here, lad. Honestly, don't do that to us. Okay. The southerners are listening to us now. They're viewing and they're going to say, oh, these northerners don't even know who we are. Okay, you're the face of the north now. Come on. Okay, so are we the body? Are we the mind? Are we the heart? One brother said we're the heart. Are we the nafs? Are we the spirit? And don't say potluck. Okay, we don't say we need me 9 rules. So what do you think we are? He's saying the spirit. We're the spirit. Brother there. Come on, brother. Don't let us down as well. What are we? Who are we? What do you think we are? Huh? Body. So brother is saying body here, we've got a heart here. We're getting different answers. Strange, isn't it? Human being. Look, this very question, the reason I'm asking is because shaitan does not want you to think this. Because if we don't actually even realize who we are, if we don't know who we are, then how will you know why we're here? And if you don't know why you're here, then how will you know who sent you here? And if you don't know who sent you here, how will you know how to achieve why He sent you here? It's one of the most fundamental questions primary question that you have to ask yourself and you have to know, because it is a case of identity crisis. Okay? Let me pick on somebody else. Minhaj, what do you think? Are we the body? Are we the mind? Are we the heart? Are we the nafs? Are we the spirit? Minhaj, just behind. We're the spirit. Okay, brother is saying spirit. Right, uncle, what would you say? So uncle is saying is that when he created all the spirits, the translation is the spirits, is that am I not your Lord? Yes, you are our Lord, you are Rabbul Alamin. So here is that, so if there's anything that you can take away from here today, if you remember anything, then know who we are. When you look in the mirror, that is not who you are. As beautiful as you may look, you are not that person. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not the heart. You are not the nafs. But you are the thing called spirit, the ruh. You are the spirit. And it's the spirit is the, here if we'll go and explain, it's the spirit that we need to identify ourselves with, because we came from the world of spirits. And the very thing that Uncle was saying about when Allah SWT asked our Lord, it was in the world of spirits that this element happened, which is in the Quran. Allah SWT said and mentioned the Quran. Is when he asked, like you saw the diagram which Ustadh Sufyan is showing, is that before the coming of this earth, we were in the world of spirits. That is where we are. Now where we are now is in this temporal world. It's still the spirit. But we're being given a vehicle, a body. This vehicle that we're going to talk about fast. This body, this vehicle that we've been given is like the car, and we're the spirit inside, with the engine, with the driver, with the driving of this body, of this car. That's the spirit. When we pass away, when we transfer from this world, it's still the spirit which is transferring. So it came from the world of spirits to this world. The spirit is now going to the next world, it's called Barzakh. And the spirit is going to be raised again. What happened? In what? In day judgment. And judgment will be decided. And it's the spirit will actually either enter hellfire or paradise. One or the other. It's the spirit. But you're given different bodies at different phases. So this is a journey of the spirit. So who we are the spirit, we're the ruh. So at least we know one thing now. We're the spirit. Who created us? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now just a little, think about it. What is the functionality of these entities? What's the job? What does the body do? Sisters also, you can think about it as well. Is that what does the body do? What does the body do? Brothers, sisters, what does the body do? It acts. Well done, I had an answer there. It acts. What does the mind do? Thinks. Mashallah. We're all thinking now, aren't we? It's not very challenging, honestly. We're not going to have any exams and like that. Should relax, okay? What does the heart do? Now, don't start saying poetry, please, whatever you do, okay? I know you're very ashikin and lovers here who like to like loads of poetry and quote me Iqbal and Rumi and all the things. No poetry. So heart is, what does the heart do? It's just, who said emotions? Okay? Heart doesn't do emotions, it does something else. What's the heart do? Anybody? It's character. Moral character comes from the heart. Okay? The moral character. And the thing that you're saying about emotions, that's the nafs, the desire, it's the emotions. All this love, anger, happiness, joy, it's all from the nafs. It's coming from the nafs, from the desires of the nafs. But the thing is, these are the four elements that we have. The body, the mind, the heart, the nafs. The mother of all of these is the spirit. The mother, i.e. it's the commander, it's the control of all of these things is the spirit of all of these entities. And what, connecting Ramadan here, the fasting, what we're supposed to do really in the month of Ramadan and our fast is that we're supposed to purify the body. The fast is supposed to purify the body so our acts are purified. The fast is supposed to purify the mind so our thinking is purified. The fast is supposed to purify our desires so our desires are purified. The fast is supposed to purify our character so our character is purified. And then why? Is because all the baggage of the body, of the mind, of the heart, of the nafs is dragging the spirit, because the spirit wants to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The spirit wants to be in the presence of Allah. The spirit wants to be in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The spirit wants to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The spirit wants to go and be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the heavenly abode, in the heavenly world. But what are we doing? Because of the filth committed by the body, the sins that we do with the body, the sins that we do with the mind, the sins that we do with the heart, and the sins of the evil desires is dragging the spirit down. And the real thing, we're going to miss this paper. The real thing is it's the spirit. The spirit is starved. It's hungry. The spirit is starved, it's hungry, and it needs nourishment. It needs nourishment. How we can do nourishment through Ramadan is that it needs to be nourished by divine qualities, sifat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is where it attains peace. That is where it attains light. That is where it gets its food, heavenly food. The Quran, dhikr, adhkar, all these things, it nourishes the spirit. The sifat and quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it nourishes the spirit. It feels energetic, it gives it nourishment. And what's also happening in the spirit, like we're here, we don't know, the spirit is lost. The spirit wasn't supposed to belong here, the rules are supposed to belong here, but we've made it. We said, oh ruh, oh spirit, look, there's women, there's children, there's health, there's wealth, there's the building, there's the mansions. It is nailing it down. We're nailing the spirit down on the face of this earth. We're hammering it. And it's lost. And it wasn't designed for here. And it's lost. So what happens is that the spirit now in the month of Ramadan, our fast, is supposed to reconnect to where we came from. In the month of Ramadan, what we're doing is that we're going to try and get the spirit to reconnect to where it came from, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what we're trying to do. So the real crisis that me and we're going through, not the other external things that you're doing, the financial crisis, the mental crisis, or the family crisis, or emotional crisis, whatever you're going through, that is only secondary. The real crisis is this: the spirit is actually lost and the spirit is starved. That is the real crisis that me and you need to deal with. And this month of Shaban is for me and you to wake up and realize, where are we going wrong? Where are we going wrong? If we're lost, we need to realize we're lost. If we've actually been starved, we need to realize we're hungry, we need to eat. That is what we have to do. So month of Shaban is like what we say is the time to do MOT of our body, MOT of this vehicle of ours on the face of this earth. It's to analyze and see, where are we going wrong? Am my ibadah incorrect? Am I worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Am I offering my prayers? Am I offering my fara'id? Am I committing more sins than good? Where have I damaged myself? What is that thing that is actually, what sin, outward and inward sin, that is actually stopping me and destroying me? That is what we're supposed to analyze and see in this month of Sha'ban. As I was saying on Friday, that we mentioned is that on Friday, is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 55 years of age when Ramadan and fasting was prescribed. I.e., 15 years after Nubuwwah, after revelation, the Sahaba and Prophet was actually prescribed Ramadan and fasting. They prepared themselves for 15 years for the coming of Ramadan, coming of fast. Me and you still have time. Nis Shaban as well, 15th of Shaban is significant because then there's 15 days left till Ramadan comes. Now probably it's 10 days left or less. Utilize these 10 days to, each day is like a year. Utilize it and analyze, where are we going wrong? What do I need to do? Where are my pitfalls? What do I need to concentrate on? Where do I need to fix? Is it my relatives? Is it my friends? Is it my colleagues? Is it my job? What is the thing that's taking me away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That is what we need to see and observe. Now we're talking about fasting, and we're talking about month of Ramadan, and the theme of whole of us is smart fast. And this is none other than the way and the teaching, the wisdom of the Prophet ﷺ. And it stems from this, is that many of us, if we talk about Ramadan, just imagine for a bit, imagine Ramadan has come. Now I want to know what goes through your head. When Ramadan comes and the goals that you set, what do you actually set yourself? Brother, what do you say to yourself when Ramadan comes? What goes through your head? Well, just wait for the microphone, we'll hear what the brother said. Go on. What goes through your head? Try and do your best you can. In what ways? Jamaats, and then what else? Quran, what else? Family members, yep. So, okay. Hamza, what goes through your head when you think about Ramadan? There's Hamza here. Hamza, you can't miss Hamza, honestly. You can't miss Hamza. He's over there. You can't miss him, honestly. Sorry, Hamza. He didn't know who you are, honestly. I know who you are. Go on.
No home and away.
No home, what? No home.
Yeah, not eating whatever. So basically, you pretend like you're fasting, but then you eat when you're outside and you go home.
Okay. It must be a Bolton lingo, that is, honestly. You northerners, honestly, you really do me in, honestly. It's a new lingo that I learned from them. No home and aways. Okay, mashallah. Okay, brother in the red, I'm picking you again. So what goes through your head? What meant to go through your head? I hope the southerners aren't laughing at us, honestly. I hope they're not doing it. Go on, what goes through your head? When I mention Ramadan to you, what comes to your head? Itikaf, yeah.
So it's not like you don't see it as I have to do it. It's a case of I want to do it.
Okay. So that one, list to me. What is those one? What do you want to do? What is that you want to do?
You want to feel like you connected, and you feel like part of the community as well. Everybody feels it at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people come together, and you learn that there's a lot of people around you that have the same beliefs, and you feel a sense of community with people.
Yeah.
Then you may pass through the street, you don't know.
Yeah.
You see that mosque, and you're like, oh.
Mashallah.
That sense of community.
Community and connection.
I don't think any of it.
Okay. Mashallah, that's good. I'll just mention it. We'll have some of the elders here. Uncle, what goes through your head when we mention fasting? Just in the middle, if you give the microphone to Uncle in the middle, yeah.
A lot of stuff, but I believe, personally, I believe that we get a sense of empathy and show people we haven't got
Yeah.
much. So when we go hungry, for the other stuff that we do for ourselves, if we go hungry ourselves and we concentrate on ibadah, on
Good. So ibadah, everybody thinks about ibadah.
reading more Quran,
More Quran,
doing
Qiyamul Layl, Taraweeh.
And apart from them, for the community and for the wider community, especially for those who have got less, they think about them and
Less privileged, yeah.
Yeah, and then be more charitable.
MashaAllah. So, most of us, would you agree that when you think of Ramadan, you think more? I.e., you want to exert more, i.e., more ibadah, more worship, more concentration, more devotion, more prayers. And then what you also try to do is be generous, more generous, give, give, give. That's everybody. Everybody's thinking of that, isn't it? But most of us actually fail after a few days. We all make the intention of what? Wanting to do more, wanting to actually do more and more. After 3-4 days, what happens? It gets less and less and less. After 10 days, even less. After 15 days, you see in the masjid, the Taraweeh, the safs is halved, it's decreased. On the 20th, it's maybe 2 saf. Where's everybody gone? What's happened to them? It's Ramadan. And this is why we're saying is that because we've not learned how to fast smart. We've always been thinking, I got to do more and more and more. And what we're saying today is that, look, is that we're going to teach you how you can learn to fast smartly according to the way the Rasulullah told us. And where we're going to take this from this blessed hadith which our teacher Shaykh Mutabaq, they mentioned to us this blessed hadith. They said that this is outside of Ramadan. This is outside of Ramadan. This wonderful hadith, Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he met Sayyidina Abu Dar radiallahu anhu, and he said, Abu Dar, shall I not tell you of two qualities that are easier on your back and heavy on the scales of good deeds than any other deeds? I.e., after sound belief, after correct beliefs, after the fara'id, then these two qualities, these two deeds will supersede any other deeds that a person could come with. It will supersede all other deeds. They're the most heaviest, the loftiest. After sound belief and a fara'id, these are the most loftiest deeds that you can come with. Nobody else can compete with these deeds. What are they? Is what? First is what? To observe. Now, this is the word in this. I'm just telling you that it says first is to observe long periods of silence. Tulu samt. Being quiet and silent. MashaAllah, we're here in silence and everybody's silent, MashaAllah. So you're already practicing it, MashaAllah, good. So silence, long periods of silence. What we do is that when we utilize our tongue, that is where all our troubles come. Be silent. This is outside Ramadan, is that listen to others, be silent, take the information, and then move. That will bring you closer to wisdom. When you listen to someone, when you hear them out, when you actually become, until right at the end, if you need to say something, then say it, otherwise remain silent. If you can do this, if you can increase your silence, why do you think Sayyidina Abu Bakr used to put a pebble in his mouth? Because he knew the tongue can actually destroy. So imagine if this is so heavy outside Ramadan, what do you think will happen if we actually did it in Ramadan? If you cannot, let's say for example, you can't do anything else. You can't do tilawat of the Quran, it's difficult for you. You can't do tasbihat, it's difficult for you. You cannot praise Allah, so it's difficult for you. The least thing that you should do that everybody can do is just be quiet. Just remain silent. And by remaining silent, if outside Ramadan this is so heavy on the scales, what do you think will happen in the month of Ramadan? What do you think? If everything's so elevated, what do you think will happen in the month of Ramadan? It's get elevated even more. Smart fast. Do little, get more. This is the prophetic way. You say something, do something for little, small act gets you greatest amount of reward. That is the sunnah way. Second thing, the Prophet mentioned to Sayyidina Abu Dar is practice good character with others. Practice good character. So first of all, remain silent. Don't remain long periods of silence. And practice good character with your family, with your neighbors, with your colleagues, with your friends, with your spouse. What do we mean by that is that when you meet them, the moment of you leaving, they should feel happier than when you first met them. When you meet them, the moment you leave, they should feel happier. They should feel ease. They should feel comfort by your being with them. This is good character. This is good conduct. When you leave the company, they should feel as though when is he going to come back? They have a ishtaq, they have a yearning, they have a longing in a positive sense that they missed you and they want your company again. That is how they should feel. That is how we should conduct ourselves. Good conduct. If a person does this, not Qiyamul Layl, if a person doesn't do Qiyamul Layl, if a person doesn't do juz of the Quran or khatam of the Quran, if a person doesn't do tasbihat and dhikr, if he just does these two things, If he or she just does do these things, then these two things will be sufficient for him to have the highest level of reward. This is, for me and you, the lazy man's way out. We're lazy. We can't do much. And that's why Rasul has prescribed this to us. Is that you cannot do much ibadat. For those of you who can, stay on one side, put your hand up and stay on one side and do your ibadat and worship. Most people say that, no, I cannot do this. But okay, come on this side, just do these two things. In the month of Ramadan at least. And you will get the mightiest of rewards and mightiest of blessings. Because why? Long silence and good character, this after a right belief and after fara'id, this will be the most heaviest on the scales on Day Judgment. They will be the most heaviest. And what to say if you do this in the month of Ramadan? That is smart fast. Smart fast is that you fast effectively, efficiently. Is that to the point. Effective and efficient, like Ustadh Sufyan said. It's effective and efficient. So now, imagine this body of ours is like a car, a vehicle. We're on a journey towards whom? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're on a journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're going through a fuel crisis at the moment. Petrol prices are so high now, isn't it? Yeah? Petrol prices are so high, diesel is high, petrol is high. Before, maybe, let's say 3 years ago or 10 years ago, you filled up a tank, it would have cost you maybe average £50 or maybe 40. Now it's about 80 to 100. So what do people do when things go up? What do they start doing? They think. They don't want to waste. They don't want to waste their fuel. So maybe they would have spent time joyriding here and joyriding there and going here and going there. They just want to go from destination X, A to B and come back. I.e., making the most out of your fuel. Making the most out of whatever you put in because it's so expensive, it's so scarce now, isn't it? So you want to just go to the place that you want to go to and come back. You don't want to waste. So now if we use this concept of fuel, the 4 ingredients of that fuel, of taqwa, is what? Presence of giving preference to Allah by giving preference to His command. This is the ingredients that's going to actually give you the fuel to actually go in the petrol, in the diesel. Preference to the Prophet ﷺ by giving preference to his ways and his lifestyle. Having compassion upon the creation by fulfilling their rights. And being in the presence of Allah on the full 24 hours. These are the key ingredients to the fuel of taqwa that you put into your car. And the more that you put in, the further and the longer distance you can travel within that car. That is what we have to do. Now what's going to happen is that the car is designed, when you're outside in the car, obviously if you go to a motorbike or a bicycle, it's not going to protect you from the rain. It's not going to protect you from high stone that's coming towards you, or a snow or hail or anything like this. If you're in a car, it protects you from the rain. It protects you from the wind. It protects you from the snow. As you're driving, lightning, thunderstorm, whatever storm you're going through, obviously not severe, that's going to ray you off, but it's there to protect. Similarly, as-sawmu junnah. That fasting is a protective shield. It's supposed to protect you from these vices, the shaitanic desires, the satanic temptations, the sins that is there. Is supposed to protect you from that. And what happens is that if we don't pay attention, we open our window, we open our door, and let the sin come inside the car, it will destroy us. It will break us. And that is what we have to do. Is that month of Ramadan has now come. It's the time to service our vehicle. It's the time to actually see, was there any puncture? Is there a puncture there? Is there any breakage here? Does my tank need filling? Is there a hole in the exhaust? Can my vehicle take me to where I want it to take me to? So month of Ramadan is the month of service and refueling. Have I got enough in my tank to take me on my journey? Have I got enough, or am I on empty? Can you see we're on empty? Most of us come Ramadan, we're on empty. That's why when we say, brother, pray, sisters, pray, we find it difficult. Sister, brother, read the Quran, we find it difficult. Sister, brother, refrain from saying, we find it difficult because we're on empty. The taqwa is empty. We need to fill the tank with taqwa. The fuel of taqwa. Fill it up so that we can actually go to our journey. Here, so these troubles that we had, Shaban, we should have now analyzed and seen where is the issue, where is the problem, so I can fix it in the month of Ramadan comes. And what I'm doing is, all I'm doing is servicing my vehicle, filling my tank. Servicing my vehicle. Why? Once you service the vehicle, once you fill up the tank, now your journey is what? Towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be comfortable and ease. Not difficult and bumpy. Not hindering and stopping you in your journey. Oh, I've got a puncture. I've got this flat tire. Oh, my windows are scratched. Window screen is just smashed. I can't do anything. So there are different levels of taqwa that you can try to actually, different levels of fasting that you can do in the blessed month of Ramadan. And what we want you to do is, again, the very first thing that he meant about smart is being specific, is that we want you to choose one level that you feel as though that, yep, this brother, this definitely, I can definitely do, I'll take this one. It's not too difficult for me, I can do this one. I'll take this one and I'll practice this. And you're going to practice the full 30 days of the month of Ramadan. So the first level, level 1 of actually filling your tank up is what? To abstain from eating, drinking, and malnutrition from dawn to dusk, and to offer the 5 daily prayers and Taraweeh. 5 daily prayers and Taraweeh for 30 days in Ramadan. If you do this consecutively for 30 days, what will happen is that your level of taqwa will go from 0 to what? Here. At least you have some fuel. Before you couldn't even move. So if you couldn't move, all shaitan has to do is come with his bulldozer and attack you, and that's it. Your car is damaged. It's finished. Gone. Rear off the road. It's off the road. It's gone now. What are we going to do? We have to get emergency vehicle to come and take you out, and that's it. Next level, level 2. What is it? Is that to abstain from the sins of the tongue, the eyes, and feet. 3 organs. The tongue, again, tongue is involved here now. Being quiet, making sure you don't do anything wrong with the tongue, making sure you don't do anything wrong with the eyes, making sure you don't do anything with the feet, as well as level 1. As well as level 1. So you're now taking 2 together. You're also stop from eating, drinking. You're also offering your prayers. You're also offering Taraweeh. Now what you're also going to do is that you're also going to control your eyes, your tongue, and your feet. And if you do that, if for 30 days, your level of taqwa will increase here. Your tank is filled up to here. Then if you've got level 3, is what? To abstain from the sins of the sensual, all of the sensual organs of the body. What is it? Not just tongue, not just eyes, not just feet, but the stomach, the hands, the feet, the private parts. All the 7 organs of the body, you've got to make sure you control it, as well as offering your prayers, as well as offering Taraweeh, as well as fasting from dawn to dusk and not having a marriage relationship. This will then, if you fast for 30 days, it'll take you up to halfway. Your tank will fill halfway. Now what will happen is that if you're half a tank, you're confident you can get to a good distance. Maybe all the way to Birmingham. Maybe even London, if it depends if your vehicle is good, efficient. To the destination, even further distances from here. Level 4 is what? Use your heart to call Allah in all the worship that you do. The heart starts communicating now. Heart starts calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you think you can do level 4, so if you're thinking level 2, that sounds reasonable, I'll do that. Okay, then take that level. Stick with it for 30 days. If you think, no, I can do better than that, then take level 3. Control all the sensual organs of the body. If you want to go higher, then level 4. Use your heart and call Allah in all the worship that you do. Use the sensual organs of the body to do what? Practice good deeds and the Ramadan amal, the efficient amal, the smart amals, which was Ustadh Shaban will actually be doing after me. He'll explain to you what you can be doing, how you can occupy yourself during the month of Ramadan. And look, even more, your tank is filled up. That means even greater distance you can go towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And level 5, to abstain from sinful thoughts. Intention thinking about sin, to abstain from sinful thoughts, including level 1 to 4. And what will happen? you won't really need to stop. You can go to full distance wherever you want, from one part of the country to another part of the country, of UK, wherever you want to go. Maybe you can do it in a full tank, a quarter fill of tank. You won't need to stop. So you go. And so on, there are 6, level 7, level 8. I'm just mentioning 5 levels here. Inshallah, there's a sheet there, brothers and sisters, you can take, and we can give you a PDF as well, the different levels. If you feel as you can do higher, do higher. What we're saying is that take one of these sheets, select a level. If you want to discuss with us afterwards, yes, we're here, you can discuss with us and say, which do you think we can discuss and say, which do you feel as though you can do? If you feel as though you can do level 2, stick with that. What you do is now with one of these sheets is that you're going to fast that level from morning, from Sahri onwards till all the way till when closing your fast and opening your fast, iftar, is that you're going to observe that level throughout the day. If you've now done that level, you put a tick. You put a tick. Second day, put a tick. Third day, put a tick. Fourth day. On the 5th day, let's for example, you couldn't manage that level. You've done a sin. You've done something wrong, which is against it. You put a cross, do tawbah, start again the next day. Second attempt, look at it. Look, there's the second attempt. Second attempt, what happens? Again, you've done that level, mashallah, very good, alhamdulillah. Then on the 10th day, you put a cross because you've done something wrong. Third attempt, again, do tawbah. Third attempt, you start again. Look, you put a cross on the 10th day. What will happen is that now, there are only so many days left of Ramadan. Maybe you do 5 fast left and you complete those levels. Just 5 fast. In other words, what you do is that after the month of Ramadan, in reality, what you've done is that in your service station of Ramadan, you only filled up just 5, maybe a bar or 2 bars of the vehicle for your tank. In reality. That's what you've done, is that 5 days out of the 30 days is what you've actually really kept fast, your spiritual fast. What you have to do after month of Ramadan and the coming months is make up that. And how to make up that, and how to make up the other 25 days, this is where Allah SWT is Rahman ar-Rahim, Ghafoor ar-Rahim. He is the most merciful and definitely wise, is that we have months of the years in which Allah SWT sends specific months we can use to top up our tank. So if we go here, the smart fast, according to the way the Prophet said, is that smart meaning that it has to be specific. As Sufyan said, it has to be specific. Why we say this is a smart fast, according to the way the prophetic wisdom, prophetic art of fasting, is that you choose a level. You're specifying. You're saying that I'm going to choose that level and I will fast at that level. Not I'm going to try and do everything and anything. I'm going to be specific to what I want to do. Let's tailor according to our abilities, not the ability of others. Not what others expect of me, but what I can do. So you're specific. You choose a level that's been specific. It's measurable. You can see how many fasts you've actually done. Your 30-day sheet, a sheet, you can see how many fasts you've actually really kept, spiritual fasts you actually kept. That is why it's measurable. So M being measurable. It's achievable. Everybody can do. If I say to you that just the 2 things you have to do is keep quiet, long silence, and having good akhlaq, everybody can do. In fasting, when you're fasting, you're all tired anyway. So the easiest thing to do is just to be quiet. Oh, Bashir, what's wrong with you? Your work will tell you, oh, I'm just fasting. I'm just so tired. You don't want to speak anyway. So anybody can practice silence. Everybody can practice silence. Achievable. This is what Prophet is saying, is that, oh my ummati, it's all achievable. Don't let shaitan tell you that you can't do. The problem with me and you is that we're thinking is that we have to do all of these things. We have to do so much of the Quran. We have to do so much of the ibadat. We have to do all these things. I'm saying is that we're always failing. So let's start with something which is easy for us to do and achievable for us to do. Be wise. This is smart, measurable and achievable. Realistic. Do what you can, not what you dream of doing, not what you're thinking of doing. No, do what you can. Do the ibadah that you can do. Do the worship that you can do. The amals that you've been given in the month of Ramadan, which Ustadh Shaban is going to tell. Now think which amals you can take. You don't have to do all of them, but choose. Choose wisely which ones you can do. So it's realistic, according to mine and your needs. It's realistic. And then T stands for timely, that is for 30 days. There is a target. We have 30 days to reach this target. We put a target of 30 days. That is why the prophetic fast, the Ramadan, is a 30-day prescription of efficiency, a 30-day of bliss. If you do it this way, the way the Prophet told us to do it for 30 days, this is the smartest fast you can ever do, according to the way Rasulullah taught us. And if you do it this way, that is specific, it's measurable, achievable, realistic, timely, you will achieve goals that you never achieved all the years that you've been fasting. That is where we're going wrong. We set unrealistic goals, unrealistic targets. After 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, we've fallen because we say we can't do it. It's not possible. Because we don't have that spiritual level of taqwa in us, developed in us, for us to do that. So let's develop it. Let's develop those ingredients of taqwa. Let's fill our tank up. And how, like I said, is that if this is the whole year, this is a blessing, if this is the journey of the whole year that we have to go through, Allah SWT, the most merciful, is that He's given us different times of the year in which we can actually then refill. Fill up our tank. Look at the journey that we have to go through, the roads after, the terrains we have to go, the different hills we have to go through. We feel drained. Many of us will say that throughout the year. Hundreds will say, I'm exhausted, I'm drained. Work is killing me. Family is killing me. I'm gone, I just need a break. I'm exhausted. Business is taking me away. I can't take the business anymore. Pressures of business, pressures of work, pressures at home, pressures everywhere. We are on empty. You hear people saying this. They say, I'm on empty, I just need a break. That's why Allah SWT says, okay, my servant, I'll give you different months where you can go to my service stations and you can fill up. So He gives a month of Shawwal. Where if you fast in the month of Shawwal, the 6th fast is as if you fasted the whole year. You fill up the tank. Fill it up. Fill up the tank. That's the first refill station for us. Fill up the tank and go in your distance. Don't worry about it. Maybe you're empty again. Okay, I'll give you Zulhijjah. The best of days. The most greatest of the days, the best of days and nights of the whole year is what? Even every single day you couldn't do the Qadr, even those 10 days of Zulhijjah is the best of days. Allah says, this is a major service station for you, my servant. If you're really going low and you really are not struggling, use this then. Use this station, fill yourself up, drag yourself up, make sure you're fully energized, then you can go on my journey. But Ya Rabbal Alameen, still struggling. Why? Okay, I'll give you Muharram straight after. You don't need to go far, come to Muharram. Beginning of the year, new start, new lease of life, start again. Allah has given us a service station, Muharram. Use that. What, you're struggling again? Okay. You are struggling? Okay. I'll give you a special station. A special station in where you can learn to connect with the Prophet ﷺ. I'll give you Rabiul Awwal. The station Rabiul Awwal, use that to connect with the Prophet ﷺ. I've blessed this station, I've named this station Rabiul Awwal, I've blessed this station in that month in which I've selected, I've honored that month by the coming of my beloved. If you want connection with the Prophet ﷺ, come to this service station now. Fill yourself up. Then, you're still struggling. You're still on empty. Don't worry. Allah has given us Rajab, where we can learn to connect with Him. Rajab is my month. It's the month of Allah SWT. Rasulullah said, Rajab is the month of Allah. We can learn to connect with Him. And if you're really again struggling, straight after, like with the month we're in now, is Shaban. Now go, if you're really struggling, Allah says, oh my servant, you're really struggling? Go and find out why you're struggling for. Why is your car not traveling the way it's supposed to travel? Why are you struggling? Go and do an MOT of your vehicle. Do MOT of your body, of your mind, of your heart, of your nafs. Do MOT of that. Analyze it. Where are you sinning? Where are you falling? Which traps are you actually succumb to? Go and do MOT of your body. Go and do MOT of your mind. Go and do MOT of your heart. Go and do MOT of your nafs, of your desires. And scan yourself and see where you're going wrong. Then you can immerse yourself in the blessed month of Ramadan. Again, if Allah SWT wills, we reach that. There's no guarantee. So not only have Rasulullah taught us how to fast in a smart way, by those 2 amals, and remember the hadith right at the beginning. Man lam yada' qawla zuri. Whoever cannot leave sinful speech, وعمل به قول زور عمل به ما لم يدع قول زور عمل به, and sinful action, i.e. sinful speech, sinful action, bad usage of tongue, bad usage of your body, your akhlaq, your conduct. In other words, if you remain silent and if you have good akhlaq, you are doing the opposite of what Rasul said, is that you are actually in plus. Because the Rasul said is that whoever can leave sinful speech and sinful action, Allah SWT has no need for you to go hungry and thirsty. He doesn't need you to refrain from eating and drinking. No, He doesn't need it. So my dear brothers and elders and sisters, is that the smart fast is Rasulullah always made it easy for His ummah. Allah SWT only wants sahal for it, ease for us. He has shown us how to He has shown us how to fast in the smart way. And this has all been taken by our beloved teacher according to the teaching of Shaykh Ahmad al-Baq. They've taught us these wonderful teachings, how they've taught us how you can actually do this. This is our beloved teacher who's shown us how to actually do that and this concept according to the prophetic wisdom and teaching that's been devised by them. So to repeat again is that if we go here, is that this month, how to make a smart fast, choose a level. How to use one of the stick sheets. What you're going to do, it's achievable because anybody can do it, anyone can do it, and you can do it because you're going to have goals, set goals, which is pertinent to you, not to what you want to do, what you wish to do, but what you can do, realistically. And then all you got to do is imagine Ramadan is a 30-day course. It's a 30-day prediction, 30-day course that Allah has prescribed for me and you. All we have to do is exert ourselves. So for example, many people go on diet. I don't know, sugar diet, food diet, whatever. There are many different diets. I've got so many bodybuilders here. That's why I'm scared of them. They've got such wonderful bodies here. They're on protein diet and this diet and that diet. They're always talking about it. So they set themselves targets. And then they say, for 30 days or for 2 months or 3 months, I want to do this. What we're saying is that, my dear brothers and elders, we cannot conquer Mount Everest, mashallah. We can't conquer Mount Everest in one day, in one go. Let's take few steps at a time. Let's start taking few steps at a time. I.e. this year, aim for a level, complete that. If Allah wills and He gives an opportunity to fast again the next year, we can do a higher level next year, and high level the year after, and high level after, until Allah SWT takes us from the face of this earth. So my dear brothers and elders, is that this is a smart fast. This is the way that Allah and His Messenger wanted us to actually choose, so that we can really benefit from the month of Ramadan. So my dua is this, that may you fast smart, not like last year or the years before, and may your fast never be the same again this year. Jazakumullah khairan jaza. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Just before we actually stop, just 1 second, is that now this bit is finished. Just to mention about from the fiqh side, there's 2 things that people ask perennially. The most common question, that's what I'm going to tell you. First of all, is about inhalers. Okay, it's about inhalers. Is that, does my fast break if I take inhaler? Now here is, according to Hanafi fiqh, in our Hanafi fiqh, is that we say, yes, it will break, but take the inhaler and carry on as normal. Allah, and then just make that as a precaution. There's ikhtilaf in this, but as a precaution, after the month of Ramadan, just keep that one extra fast, just to make that one up. But take the inhaler. If you need to, then use as much as you can, how you can. And then if you're able to, then continue the fast, then continue. Saving your life is more important than actually the fast itself. So save yourself. Just make up that one fast as a precaution. Number 2 is injections. So no, if you take any injections which is actually not going to go to your system, just a normal injection, that will not break the fast. But if it's going to go through, for example, you're going to the dentist, they have to put surgical, that will break the fast. Okay? So normal, like for example, vaccines, they're fine. Giving blood, number 3 question. Can I give blood in the month of Ramadan? Yes, you can do, but why would you want to do that? Because you're going to be weak anyway. If you're weak, I advise you not to do that. But if you want to, yes, you can. It will not break your fast. There are 4 things or 5 things you can do that will make the fast easy on you. 5 things that you can do that will make, would you want that? Again, smart fast. Smart fast. Think smartly, efficiently, effectively. What we're saying is that here, you want to make it easy for yourself, not hard, do you? So how can you make this Ramadan and the fast of Ramadan easy? Because you're going to be stopped from eating and drinking, isn't it? It's difficult for some people. First and foremost is at least get up for sahri and have suhoor and have plenty of water. There is barakah and blessing that lies in there which you can't believe. At least come as come, wait at the latter time. Don't have, like we'll normally do, I'm going to have suhoor at 12 o'clock. And then sleep away and wake up at fajr. Unless you're tired, extremely tired, and thinking, I advise that try to actually delay it as much as you can, near to the time of actually when it's closed, then do it then. Is that delay, that is where and drink as much water as possible, that will make your fast easy. Number 2 is have a shower every day. That will make it easy. Just by having a shower, it relieves and it washes away spiritual sins, what you might have done, it cleanses that, but also your body doesn't have the baggage and odor, it'll feel fresh and energized. Have a shower. Number 3 is have sufficient rest. If you are able, when you come back from work, if you can. If not, it's because the days are a bit shorter now, then after, what you do is that if you can, after you open the fast, or if you come back from work early, have a half an hour nap, a 20-minute nap, kaylula. Have one of them. Is that have a 20-minute nap, half an hour nap, you'll feel fresh, you'll feel energized, you can concentrate better. And number 4 is one of the most beautiful things is that you will find it, try it. I'm saying try this, 5 things we mentioned, is try this, is that put itar on. What we do is that we make ourselves look morbid. Oh, and then it's like a zombie's coming out. Here you go, down. And she's fasting. He's definitely fasting. We don't want to look at them. All sorts of things coming out our faces. We don't know what's going on. Okay? Why we do that, I don't know. I do not know why we do that. But as you hear that you are allowed to put cream on your face, you're allowed to actually put things in your face. Why not show Allah SWT, Ya Rabbal Alameen, this wonderful thing that you prescribe is such a wonderful thing. So what you do, put itar on. Fragrance yourself. That will make fast easy. And those are the 4 or 5 things you can do to make the fast easier. The last thing I'll say is that one thing, before I finish, I do apologize. One thing I'll mention is that fasting, have you ever thought why Allah Rasul said, and after the hadith, that fasting is for me and I am its reward. Fasting is for me and I am its reward. One of the most amazing thing about fasting, now this is something for you, if you understand, you understand. If you don't, Allah forgive me, but is that with fasting is actually you are mimicking whom? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't sleep or eat or drink, does he? So for that period of not eating and drinking, you're actually mimicking and benefiting from the sifat and quality of not eating and drinking. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not eat, he doesn't drink. And because of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves that sense of that, oh, this my servant who are created, who are given life and existence, he's trying to mimic me. He's trying to mimic me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't have any wives or children, anything like that. So refrain from marriage relationship, he's mimicking me. The sifat and quality of not having any children, wife, not having through the fast of not eating, of not drinking, and even the fact that Allah doesn't sleep, the fact that we offer taraweeh is late night we ibadah, we could have been sleeping, but you're offering taraweeh, i.e. you're sacrificing sleep, and Allah says, oh man, look at my servant. He could have been sleeping, but he's awake. He's mimicking me. It's such a reward because it is through this ibadah that you mimic Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sifat and quality the most. And that is why Allah says fasting is for me and I am its reward. One of the things that we can take the ishara from. So it's such a blessed thing that no, we say, obviously all this has come through the Prophet and we make a Prophet, but this is one thing, this is through fast that we can directly actually, to our level, is that we can actually reflect the sifat and quality of Allah directly, physically. That to stop from eating and drinking, a marriage relationship, from dawn to dusk, and not to sleep. I.e. enlivening the night and making sure that you're in ibadah, sacrificing and showing Allah, Ya Rabbal Alameen, we are for you, we are yours, you're created for us for you, and we want you. Jazakumullah and jazak subhanaka wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Jazakallah khair, Imam Qais, for enlightening us in regards to how we can conduct a smart fasting this Ramadan, mashallah, giving us insightful and practical advice. Now I would like to ask Ustadh Shaban to give us, you can say, smart way and make an effective way of how we can manage our time and the amals that we can do in Ramadan, in terms of how we can bring that, what Imam Qais has just told us practically now, benefiting with your time and the amals that we're going to be doing during Ramadan.
Yeah, that was one. You just went past it, yeah. Yeah, time number 4 time, yeah.
It's already open.
Yeah, it was. I just saw it. The hit is that one. Yeah, bismillah.
Is it coming through, yeah? Should be.
How do you put it on the actual big one?
No, just, you can see the next slide, just do it like that, otherwise it doesn't come up on our system.
Acha,
Is that
chalo.
okay?
Yeah, Ustadh's was big, that's why I said it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll give you a shot if I need to change it. Like this one.
Yeah, just tell them check it, yeah?
Hamid, just check, is the presentation coming through, yeah? Fine.
Chalo, bismillah.
Inshallah, we just...
Yeah. For me,
Inshallah, we're just having some technical difficulties, inshallah. Just bear with us, inshallah. We'll bring up the next slideshow up on the screen shortly.
Maybe fault? No, it's showing up as fault. It's showing us.
yeah, sure, man.
Just check now.
Bismillah.
Jazakallah khair. Is it working?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. So previously, the previous Ustadh mentioned that how can we have a smart fast in this Ramadan. Now what we need to discuss is how can we spend our time in a smart way in Ramadan as well. As managing time is very important in Islam, as if a person can manage their time, then they can balance many things that they have in their life, whether it's their marital life, whether it's their family life, their work life, their spiritual life. So managing time benefits both a person's dunya as well as their deen. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions, so how important is time in our deen, in Islam? It's so important that Allah Azza wa Jal Himself mentions in Surah Asr, by the time verily mankind is in loss. So Allah Himself makes an oath by time. So such is the value of time in our deen that Allah Azza wa Jal makes an oath and a qasam by time itself. So a person can understand just from this how important time is. And you can even see it, how important time is. That imagine if all dunya, everything that's inside it, all the wealth, all the health, all the cars, all the houses, all the gold, all the women, all the spouses. Imagine if you could put all them together in one place and give it to one person. But on the day of judgment, if this person has the opportunity to just come back for 1 second, he'd take that 1 second. That's how valuable time is. And even in this time, there's millionaires, billionaires, even now that have recently passed away in the last 10, 20 years. For example, the CEO of Apple, he passed away. But in dunya life, he was a billionaire. He had more wealth than people could even count. But if you ask him now, if you bring him back into this life and say to him, what would you choose? Would you choose all your wealth? Would you choose everything you achieved? Or would you just choose that 1 second? And he will say, just give me that 1 second. That's how important time is. So it's very important that we understand how to manage time as well. It's very important that managing time, because it's important, because managing time means a person can have an organized life. And time is, sometimes we think that time is just something that we have on our wrist, on our watch. But in reality, we ourselves are time. A person's life is like a house. Each day is like a brick. We think one day we hear that, a person passed away. In reality, what happened was, it's like a house. When a contractor comes and demolishes a house, he demolishes it brick by brick. And in the same way, that's how our life is going. So if in a year, 365 days are gone, we can imagine that is 365 bricks that have gone from that building. So each day, a brick will go from our life, and up until the last brick that's left. And that's when we could say that a person passes away. So time itself is very important in Islam. So valuable that a person can't put a price on it. Now, before we go into time management, first we have to understand that before time management comes something called goal management. Because if a person doesn't have the correct goals, then a person does not really know how to efficiently manage his time. So let's say, for argument's sake, a person goes, if I go into my car now and I start the car and I start driving on the motorway, and somebody pulls me up and I stop at a service station and they say to me, where are you going? And I say, I don't know, I'm just driving. They'll think I've lost it. They'll think this person, he's not mentally stable. We're just driving on the motorway. So that's the same thing with time management. It doesn't make any sense until a person has correct goals and goal management. So when a person has goals, it's like the destination. So when a person goes on the motorway, there's a reason why he's going there. So let's say, for example, he puts on his TomTom, or he puts in his sat-nav a destination in London, and then it directs him to that destination. So when a person, first of all, he puts his destination in, then and only then can a person effectively manage the time and effectively go on the journey. Now there's benefits as well of setting goals, and there's 4 specific benefits to setting goals. Now, first of all, it provides direction, like we mentioned, that a person knows his target. So if a person's going to London, he knows where his destination is, so he knows that he's on the right path. Clarity. So when a person has the correct goals, he knows there and then that I've got clear objectives. So how does this benefit a person? He knows that there's less distractions now. So let's say, for example, if a person knows that he needs to, let's say, memorize the Quran, he won't be sat there on his phone all day long, because he knows I've got a certain goal that I need to achieve. Or if a person needs to work, or he's doing business, he won't be sat around playing on his PlayStation 5, or he won't be watching the news, seeing what's the latest on what's going on in the world. He'll try to achieve his goals. Motivation. He knows each day that he works towards his destination, towards his goal, he knows that each day is a step in the right direction. So it keeps him motivated. And success. As the previous Ustadh Sufyan mentioned, that if a person who plans properly, he will be successful. They say that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So a person then, if he has specific goals that are achievable, he knows that 90%, okay, he might have 10 goals that a person sets for himself. And one he might miss out on, but the other 9 he will achieve. So his success rate is multiplied by 90%. So he knows that he can achieve these goals. Now, the previous Ustadh mentioned the SMART technique. Now, how can we, and we're going to briefly go over this again, and how we can use this to achieve our goals. Now, first of all, now we've understood that before time management comes goal management. But how do we know what a goal is? Let's say, for example, anybody can have any goal. For some person, it could be a goal to become a millionaire in 1 year, but that's not a realistic goal. So how do we know how we can actually set ourselves goals in this Ramadan so we can use our time in a smart way? So first of all, it has to be specific. We have to have specific goals in this Ramadan that we know that we can achieve in the 30 days. It has to be measurable. There has to be something that physically we can measure it by. Let's say, for example, if we know we're going to London, we can measure if we're going to get there. Why? Because there's stops on the way, there's service stations, there's also different towns and cities. There's Birmingham along the way, there's other cities along the way. We know we're heading in the right direction. Thirdly, it's achievable. We know that it's something that we know is in our heart, we know we can achieve. It's not something that we think that, oh, in reality, we've set a goal for ourselves, for example, becoming a millionaire in 1 year, or we've set a goal for ourselves to go to the gym twice a day for the whole year. It's something that's not achievable, it's not realistic, because some days you might be busy, some days you won't be able to achieve that in goal itself. Then fourthly, it has to be realistic. It has to be something to do with what your purpose is that you're trying to achieve. So like it has to be, for ourselves, it will be something that's realistic, meaning something to do with Ramadan itself. And lastly, there has to be a time frame, which we know in our time frame there's 30 days. Now, this is where the previous Ustadh Qais mentioned that there has to be, they gave us levels, they gave us 5 levels which a person can achieve. Now, in them specific levels, a person can achieve and use this SMART technique to achieve their goals, because with them sheets, each of these points are mentioned. So they're specific because you're committing to a level. So you're not doing all 5 levels in one go, you're committing to a specific level. It's measurable. You can measure it. Why? Because you're ticking sheets, you can see your progress. Number 3, it's achievable. There's a practical goal at the end, because you know that there's a practical thing that you're going to achieve at the end of it. Number 4 is realistic. It's something that's to do with what you're doing in this month. It's something that's to do with Ramadan. And time frame. We know that it's 30-day prescription for us. We know over the 30 days we can achieve this, and that's why even in Ramadan itself it's 30 days. And that's why it's 30 days as well, because scientifically now it's even proven that if a person does something for 30 days, it creates a habit in him. So if a person does this for 30 days and these tick sheets on whichever level that they're going to do, then you know that if you can maintain it quite easily after Ramadan. Now, I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes, because what I want to do is I want you to now use this SMART technique and the goal management technique to see what level you can achieve this Ramadan. So what level would you be focused on? Is it level 1, which is abstaining from eating, drinking and marital relationships? Is it level 2, which is the above, as well as tongue, refraining from the eye, for sins of the tongue, the eyes and the feet? Is it level 3, which is the 7 organs, so the above and refraining from all the sins of the physical organs? Is it number 4, where it's refraining from all the sins as well as then calling for Allah in every day worship of a person? And then level 5, which is calling for Allah as well as not having any bad thoughts about people or bad thoughts about an individual, or bad thoughts about sins. Now, inshallah, I'm going to give you 2 minutes now to think about, use the technique that we think something and how you can achieve and what target and what goals are you going to set for yourself. So now you can think about it for yourself. So use it, whichever one is it specific? So, for example, Abdurrahim, what do you think? Which level would be realistic for you? Level 3. So, for example, the 7 organs. Level 3. So that's what I mean. So now he's used, Abdurrahim's used it specific. So now he's committed to a level and he knows that it's realistic as well. Now, Abdurrahman, what about yourself? Level 4. He's beat you, Abdurrahim. So he thinks that he can do level 4. Now, for example, that's another. Is there anybody else? Yeah, maybe if you can ask. Usman, which level do you want to pick? Level 1. MashaAllah. Well, that would be easy because you're not married, so that's one ticked off already. So, what about yourself, brother? Level 2. So, mashallah, refraining from the sins of the tongue, eyes and feet. So now, alhamdulillah, now you've got a level. So now, like we mentioned before, we had said that before a person can do time management, he has to have what? Goal management. So now we know what our goal is for Ramadan. Now the next thing now is, how do we achieve this goal? Now this is a table that a person is looking at where a person can achieve this goal. So this table is now going to effectively manage your time. How? First of all, what we do is we put the date in at the top. So let's say, for example, a person will start on day 1. So he will put the date on the top. Now, what he will do daily is he will first of all record how much hours he slept that day. So let's say an average person sleeps 8 hours. Then how many hours on worldly life? So 12 hours. Maybe that could include 8 hours in work, 2 hours in family time, 1 hour with parents, 1 hour in the gym. So that's 12 hours. Yeah? Then how long did this individual spend on religious activities? So let's say, for argument's sake, this person just spent 1 hour during the day and he completed his 5 salah in the masjid. So that individual now, from calculating how many hours he slept, how much time he spent on worldly activities and how much time he spent on religious activities, this individual knows how much effective time he's used during that day. So for this individual, it will be 21 hours in a day that is effectively used. So now this individual also knows how much time he's wasted. So this individual, after the 24 hours, he's wasted 3 hours in the day. Now, this person knows that 3 hours in this day that this person's wasted, yep. Now, he also can record what he's wasted that time on. So maybe some people's is YouTube. Maybe for some people is PlayStation 5. Maybe some people is TikTok shorts all day long. Addictive TikTok shorts where you start, it doesn't stop, and 3 hours have gone. Maybe for some people it's catching up on politics and news. So they just have the news cycle on repeat. Or maybe for some people it's spending time with bad friends. It could be spending time doing other useless activities. So now this person understands that he's wasted 3 hours of that day. So now he can spend them 3 hours of wasted time. He can pick from the next 6 amals that I'm going to tell a person on Ramadan amals. I can tell you to pick 3 of them amals that you can do. So first of all, so we're going to use this same timetable. Maybe it will be different for everyone. Maybe they will spend 8 hours sleeping. Maybe they'll spend 14 hours with family and worldly activities and 1 hour religious. So maybe they will only waste 1 hour. But using this time management, a person will know how much time he's got, actual time he's wasted, and how much time he's got where he can use effectively. So now how can we use this time effectively in this Ramadan? Number one, salah. Not just the 5 salahs, but we can add different salahs that a person can do during the day, which a person doesn't do in normal day-to-day life. Maybe it's salat al-tasbih. So just some of the fazilah of these types of worship. Salat al-tasbih. Sometimes we think we walk around with so much baggage on our backs, and sometimes we think our sins are as big as mountains. But what's the benefit of salat al-tasbih? A person can pray this in 20 minutes in one day. And what does it do? It gets rid of all of a person's sins. Major, minor, future, past, intentional, unintentional sins. So just imagine a person could have been walking around with baggage, and the baggage of sins and regret and shame for years and years. But all he needed to do was what? Just do Salatul Tasbih for 20 minutes, and all that weight off his shoulders could come off. This is where the term comes. Work smarter, not harder. Just imagine, 20 minutes. That's all it would have taken. Or what's the next thing a person could add? Salat Ishraq. After 20 minutes after Fajr Salah. What's the benefits of that? The benefits are that if a person, sometimes we think persons want to go Hajj, but sometimes financially a person is very difficult, especially now where I heard from a brother the other day, and he mentioned that on average Hajj nowadays is £9,000. Just imagine, it's very difficult for some people to go. But how can a person get the same benefits of it? How can a person get the reward? Just 4 rakat of nafil in the morning at Ishraq time, it's the equivalent reward of what? 1 accepted Hajj and 1 accepted Umrah. So just imagine, sometimes a person goes to Hajj, spends the time, spends a full month away from work, and spends all their wealth just to go to Hajj and come back. They might not even know if it's accepted or not. But in this time, what? A person can achieve the same rewards of accepted Hajj and Umrah in a matter of 5 minutes. Next thing, Salatul Tahajjud. A person, what's the best time that a person can come even the closest to Allah Azza wa Jal? Is Tahajjud time. When Allah Azza wa Jal comes to the first heaven, just imagine how much closeness that a person can achieve in that time. Next thing, so either a person can increase their salahs during that time apart from Salat al-Tarawih and their 5 first, or sunnah. A person can maybe pick 3 sunnah that they don't currently do right now. Maybe it could be something to do with food, especially because at that time is a person's hungry. Maybe at that time they can think what kind of sunnah is going to do. Maybe wash their hands before they eat. Maybe eat with their right hand. Maybe on top of that, not eat till they're filled. So they can pick 3 sunnahs during this period and how they can implement them, so they can do these for 30 days. And they can, so instead of wasting that time, they can use this effective time. Next thing, prophetic adhkars of protection that a person can do. That in morning, in after Fajr and after Maghrib. Even these, if a person's not currently doing these, there's so many fazilat in there. The Prophet ﷺ used to pray these every single day themselves, morning and evening. Next thing, presence of Allah. Again, like previous Ustadh Qais mentioned, that a person doesn't even need to talk. Some of the highest rewards that a person can get after their fara'id is just to remain silent. But when a person is remaining silent, just imagine you could take that even to another level where you could be in the presence of Allah Azza wa Jal. You can imagine Allah is with me, Allah hears me, Allah sees me. And you can stay in that state for the full day, or as long as you can. And then once you come out of it, you can refresh that state. These are things that where we mentioned that how to have a smart Ramadan. Just imagine, maybe in 30 days, you could be in a state where 24 hours in a day, you could be in the presence of Allah. You never even could have thought about that. How can a person be in that presence 24/7? Next thing, durood and salam. How can a person come even closer to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? A person can pray durood sharif during this period. And just imagine that he can pray, take it to such a level where he can think that he's directly sending it himself and directly communicating with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And lastly, Quran with reflection. Sometimes what we do is in Ramadan we say, oh, I'm going to pray a full juz a day. No reflection, no nothing. They just my aim this Ramadan is to complete the Quran. But if you ask them, what did you learn from it? After the 30 days, after they completed it, what did you learn? They won't know. It's better just to take one verse in them 30 days, reflect on it, and implement that in your life, than to be praying a juz a day and not benefiting from it. So these are the 6 things that a person can do during the period, like we mentioned. In this period where a person's wasted his time, in then 3 hours, a person should pick one of these 6 things, or 3 of these 6 things, and implement in them time. So a person can come even closer to Allah Azza wa Jalla and make this a fruitful Ramadan for yourself. Now, just to summarize, so we mentioned how important time is, that even if a person has all the wealth in the world, all the houses, all the cars, everything you can want, all the gold, but if you say to this person on the Day of Judgment, if you come back, would you give everything just for 1 second? He'd give it. Every single thing. So it shows you time is so valuable that even Allah Azza wa Jalla swore an oath by it in Surah Asr. Second of all, that without time management is effective, but you're not going to go anywhere without effective goals. It's like a person running all day long, but he's on a treadmill. If you ask him how far have you run, 20 miles, but if in effect he's still in the same position. He's not going to go anywhere. So without effective goals, a person cannot have an effective Ramadan because he won't know what to do. So like we mentioned, that if a person's wasted 3 hours, what would you do? If you've not got goals to set, in them 3 hours, you say, oh, I've got nothing to do. Right, I might as well just go back on YouTube. So this is where it's important that you have effective goals using the SMART technique of trying to build realistic goals that you can achieve this Ramadan. And then lastly, use the table that we've showed you on how you can find your obstacles of what you're wasting your time on. Of then all the time that you've got, how much where you have the 3 hours, how you can achieve find first of all where you're wasting time, and then after, how you can use that time to change it and then do it again the day after. Maybe you'll find this time you wasted only 2 hours. Do it again, maybe for a week, maybe the week after you realize, oh, now I'm down to 1 hour wasted. So slowly but surely we're removing the wasted time from our life. And then lastly, pick 3 of them worship that a person can do. 3 of them worship where a person can accelerate towards Allah Azza wa Jalla in a very short period of time by using these small hacks. And that's inshallah everything for now. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you for your patience. We are going to come to our final, inshallah, presentation, which is brief. All the presentations and slides that you've seen and the material is free of charge. So I believe sisters have got a notepad at the back, and for the brothers, if you write your names and your telephone numbers and email address, inshallah, this can be all emailed to you. So please make sure you write your details. The final, inshallah, you can say slides, inshallah, we're going to go through is the smart solution to everything, muraqabah dua. So how to do dua to Allah Azza wa Jal. And inshallah, then we will be closing today's presentation. Jazakallah.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. In this final workshop, we're going to present to you a very special gift. We're going to allow you to leave with a very special gift. And this gift probably could be the best gift you've ever had if you utilize it correctly. Now, just before I go on to what this gift is that you're going to be presented with, I just want to ask a question. So far we've been told about different crisis situations: health crisis, financial crisis, relationship crisis, identity crisis. But generally in day-to-day, when we fall into a crisis or an emergency situation, what do we do? So it's just a question, general question. If we've got the mic, just ask anyone. Any brother, anyone want to volunteer? Come, brother at the front. If you're in a crisis situation, emergency, what do you do? Ask for help. Do we agree or do we have anything different? If you have something different, raise your hand. So we agree with this brother. So in a crisis situation, we ask for help. So, for example, if there's some criminal activities going outside, what do? We call the police. If someone's in pain or been harmed, we call the ambulance. Now, if there's a fire outside, we call the fire brigade. But then who do we call when our heart and mind is in pain? Who do we call? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mashallah. And this is what we call the smart dua. Now, we all know we call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but sometimes it's not just about calling someone. The important thing is how we call that person or how we call that individual. Or more so importantly, if we're so careful that if we were to sit with the Prime Minister, how would we call him? Or if our father was in front of us, how would we call him? Or mother was in front of our grandparents, people who are close to us, how would we call them? We wouldn't say, oh, you come here, or you over there. There would be some sort of way, a tariqah, method. So then don't you think when we call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we seek help from our Lord, there should be a method. There should be a way. So this is known as the smart dua, or in Arabic, the muraqabah dua. And this is a very, very special type of worship. So this is the gift which inshallah we're going to present to you. And there's two parts of this workshop. One is a theory aspect. So we're going to show to you how you can do this dua. And secondly, we're also going to do a practical together so you can familiarize yourself with it. So when you do go home and you do practice this, inshallah it can be fruitful and you can get maximum benefit. So literally, what is dua? So I just want to ask first and foremost, what is dua? What is a dua? Can we have a raise of hands? Brother Zain at the front. What do we think dua is? Okay, one way of communicating. Okay, yeah, a bit more general. That's very specific. I know, mashallah, you've been listening very well, so you're being very specific. So I want to ask you generally, what is dua? What is it? It's an act, but what kind of act is it? Calling, okay. Yeah, anyone else? Asking, yeah. Just more broader than that. Worship, yeah, mashallah. So dua is a form of worship. It's a form of ibadah. So we have many types of worship. We have salah, we have reading Quran, we have going to Hajj, going to Umrah, we have many different types of worship. Now, why is this such a special worship? Because it's mentioned that dua is the essence of all worship. And when we say essence, what we mean is the core, the kernel, the peak of all worship. It's the peak, it's the height of all worship, dua. And now you're thinking, how is this? So this is because ibadah, worship, the whole purpose of ibadah is to connect the worshipper to the worshipped, i.e. the slave, i.e. us, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the purpose of worship, to connect us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And other worships do connect a person, but it's not in a direct way. Now you're probably thinking, what does he mean by this? So I'll give you an example. So just say there's a person, called Abdullah, and he sat here next to me, and I say, Abdullah here is a very good person, he's a really nice person, he's got good character, he has knowledge. Now this is praise, but it's in an indirect way because I'm saying it to you even though he's sat here. But then if I say, Abdullah, how are you? You're a very good person. This is direct. And this is the difference between dua and other worship. That other worship you do, you're worshipping, you're praising Allah, but it's in an indirect way. Whereas dua, you are seeking directly to Allah. And you're saying, for example, Ya Allah, oh Allah. So as though you are directly communicating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by doing this, it connects a person to Allah, but it connects them very quickly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So although we might be asking in dua worldly things, oh Allah, I've got this difficulty, I've got this problem, I've got that, but the main thing is that you're directly connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now we've understood that the highest or the best form of worship is dua. Now how do we turn this dua into a smart dua? Now what do we do to turn this dua into a smart dua? So the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned in a hadith that dua is the essence of worship, like we mentioned before. Now the question is, what is the essence of dua? What is the core of dua? What is the height of dua? How do we make dua such a dua that it connects us and is answered instantly, like a direct line? It's like we have 999 to ring the emergency service. What is 999 when we're doing a dua? How do we connect directly to that emergency line? So this is known as muraqabah. And muraqabah here means the presence of Allah, being watchful. And to understand this a bit better, what do we mean by the presence of Allah? Like many of us, like I mentioned, we want to go to Hajj, we want to go to Umrah, and many of us sometimes may get the opportunity to do that. But now you see, people are doing tawaf, they're going around the Kaaba, but they've got their phone like this. And they've got their phone like this, and they're on Facebook Live, or they're on YouTube, or the adhan's going, and there's the clock at the back and the lights going off. So instead of facing towards the Qibla, they face backwards towards the clock and say, oh, look at this amazing light. So even though the body is present, unfortunately the mind and the heart is not present. So imagine, you've been invited as a guest to someone's house for a dawat. Someone has took their time out to invite you, and you don't even meet the host of that house. What kind of guest are we? And how worse can it be that the greatest host, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, invites us to His house, and as guests we don't even get to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Think of this. And this is the whole concept of muraqabah, is that it teaches you how to connect and come into the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now we're just going to go into the methodology of how to do this smart dua, how to do this muraqabah dua. So first, what we do, even right before we do this, we make the intention, the right intention. Because without intention, the right intention, an act could become invalid. You can pray as many nawafils, salah, Quran, but if your intention is for the wrong reasons, to show people, to complete the Quran, and not even to benefit from it, then that's all you will receive. So first and foremost, our intention should be for Allah. Now if our intention is for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even the little we do will be rewarded for it. But if our intention is not for the pleasure of Allah, even the greatest action we do, we'll get no reward for it. So first and foremost, we have to correct our intention. That any worship, and this isn't just specific to this dua, but any worship or any act, we should always try to do it for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So once we've made this intention in our mind and in our heart, then what we do is then we begin your muraqabah. And how you go into the state, or you can say the correct mind state, or into the presence of Allah, is remember 3 special keys. That Allah is with me, Allah is seeing me, and Allah is hearing me. So remember now, this dua is different from that. You're not going to be using your lips, it's going to be in your mind and your heart. So this isn't required for you to verbally say anything. Here in this dua, you're going to communicate to Allah with your mind and your heart. So first what we do is, after we've established our purpose and our intention, then we're going to come into the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember the three keys: Allah's with me, Allah's seeing me, and Allah's hearing me. So in our mind, we're going to refresh these three keys: Allah's with me, Allah's seeing me, and Allah's hearing me. So this is the first step. Then what we're going to do is we're going to recite Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nothing is worth doing unless in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then what we do, and this is just to prepare us, to prepare our mind, to prepare our heart, to be in the presence of Allah, or to be able to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we do istighfar, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah 3 times. Now, why is this important? Imagine you've wronged someone, you've harmed someone, and you ask them for something. Do you think they're really going to give you something? So the right etiquette would be to seek forgiveness first of them. And we should think, how much have we wronged Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So before we ask, the correct etiquette would be to seek forgiveness from Allah. So then we'd seek forgiveness, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. And then any durood sharif we would read 3 times. Because it's through our blessed Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we have got this gift. So it would be wrong to forget them. So we will recite durood sharif 3 times. Any durood sharif, doesn't have to specifically be the durood sharif that you can see on the screen. And then after that, finally, we would recite La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And this is something which is read a lot, but not really understood. And it's very important that when we read this as well, that we connect to these words. And when we're saying La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, we're basically saying that there's no might, no power except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Ya Allah, I can't do anything, it's only you who can do this. And by this then, it gets rid of the expectations and means that anything can be achieved. When we think, oh, it's me, myself, then it's limited, because we're limited. But when we give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, solely Allah, and the power of might, then anything is possible. So then we say La hawla wa la quwwata 3 times. And then after this, what we do to help us connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will start an imaginary process. So what we do is you'd close your eyes and you'd imagine the name of Allah is bright in the skies. So how you can see the name of Allah here, you'd imagine that with your eyes closed, shining beautifully like it is in this picture. And then what you'd imagine is that the nur and the light from the name of Allah is descending down upon your head and it's penetrating your head. Now that light is coming inside your head and coming down into your mind. And then while it's penetrating your head, your mind starts to shine, and what happens is in your mind you begin to chant Allah, Allah, Allah. So now that this light has come into your mind, the nur from the name of Allah has come into your mind, and now in your mind you start to remember Allah, Allah, Allah. And then after this, the light goes further down the body and goes straight to the heart. And like how you switch a light bulb on from darkness, it is as though now the heart becomes lightened with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the heart begins to recite Allah, Allah, Allah. So now your mind is reciting Allah and your heart is chanting Allah. And then finally what you imagine that this light is going all around your body, and all you can hear now inside your body, your mind, your heart is Allah, Allah, Allah. And then everything around you is praising Allah. In reality, the sky, the floor, everything is praising Allah. So all we can hear now in our mind, in our heart, outside is Allah, Allah, Allah. And then now in this state of mind, we're going to remain in this state of mind with this imagination. And now what we're going to do, we're going to refresh the 3 keys again. That Allah is watching me, Allah is with me, Allah is hearing me. And now we're going to present these 7 different things. Okay, so we're going to present our 7 great sins. We know ourselves internally what we've done. People may not know, but Allah is aware. But our job is to present to Allah and seek from Allah. So internally now we present 7 great sins. Then we'll present 7 blessings. The countless blessings of Allah will 7 most, the greatest blessings. Then 7 needs, things that we require in our life. That without this our life is difficult. And then 7 problems. Things that are in our life, but we don't want them anymore. We want to get rid of them. We present that to Allah. And then finally, we'll seek guidance from Allah from things, maybe there's decisions we need to make, we're not sure of a new job, marriage, a house, different decisions that are affecting us, then we seek guidance from Allah Ta'ala. We present them and we seek guidance. And then finally, what we do is we rely on Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. This is just going into more detail. We rely on Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and what we do at this point is that we combine all of these things, our needs, our problems, our difficulties, our worries, our concerns. And what we do is we imagine in front of us a gift box like this. And what we do is we put all of these things in the gift box. And what we do is then with this gift box, now when we say we imagine, it's not just about imagining, but actually feeling that these things are now leaving us. And this is the biggest problem we have, is that we have stress, we have all these difficulties going on, but what it is, we keep it inside. And like a pressure cooker, then our mind, it starts screaming, and then we make these funny noises like a pressure cooker. We start being rude to people, harming people. But the problem why this is occurring is because we leave everything inside. So what we need to do is now relieve all this by relying on Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So we rely on Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and then what we'll do is then we present this gift box to the name of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. But we've got to feel as though now, and once you do this, you should feel this pressure completely gone from a person's head. So inshallah, we're going to leave on this aspect because we're a bit short of time. So inshallah, these presentations are going to be given to you so you can practice in your own time. And inshallah, the Sham is going to conclude. Jazakallah khair for this.
Jazakallah khair to our audience for attending. Sorry, due to the shortness of time, we have to leave. Otherwise, there would have been a practical demonstration on how to do these methodologies of doing the dua, muraqabah dua, and connecting with Allah. However, if you, as I mentioned earlier, if you leave your names, your mobile numbers and your email addresses, all these slides will be emailed to you. And if you want your friends and family to benefit, there is also another event next weekend, next Sunday in Rochdale. So we will email them details to you as well. And also, there's some money that we found on the mail side, so just check your pockets if you've lost any money. See Brother Sufyan, he'll just go and see him, inshallah, then he will give you that money. And just I'll ask our Buzurg, Brother Nawaz, आप 2 minute के लिए दुआ कर दें, inshallah. Just give dua. Can you get the mic? आ जाएं इधर, नहीं दुआ कर लें इंशाल्लाह. आप बड़े हैं ना, तो आप इंशाल्लाह फिर नहीं आ जाए इंशाल्लाह. Jazakallah khair for coming, inshallah.
या रब्बी लकल हम्दु कमा यंबगी लिजलाल वजहिका वअज़ीम सुल्तानिका अल्लाहुम्मा लकल हम्दु हम्दन कसीरन तय्यिबन मुबारकन फीहि कमा युहिब्बु रब्बना व यरदा जज़ल्लाहु अन्ना सय्यिदना मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु तआला वसल्लम बिमा व अहलु रब्बना ज़लमना अनफुसना व इल्लम तगफिर लना व तरहमना लनकुनन्ना मिनल खासिरीन. या रब्बिल आलमीन, हम तेरे बंदे हैं, तू हमारा रब है. या अल्लाह हमें माफ़ फरमा दे. या अल्लाह हमने जो थोड़ी बहुत कोशिश की है, या अल्लाह इसको अपनी बारगाह में कबूल व मकबूल फरमा. हमें रमज़ान तक ज़िंदगी अता फरमा और रमज़ान से सही फ़ायदा उठाने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमा. जो चीज़ें हमने सुनी हैं, सीखी हैं, इस पर अमल करने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमा. इसमें मोर बरकतें अता फरमा. या अल्लाह नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के तरीक़े पर हमें ज़िंदा रख, किसी पे हमें मौत अता फरमा. या अल्लाह हमारे मशाइख़ के मज़ीद दर्जात बुलंद फरमा, उन्हें मज़ीद अपना कुर्ब और रज़ा अता फरमा. या अल्लाह जितने भी बहन भाई आए हैं, या अल्लाह इनका आना कबूल फरमा, इनकी मुश्किलें आसान फरमा, इनकी ये भी ज़िंदगी बेहतर फरमा, आने वाली जो ज़िंदगी उनको बेहतरी फरमा. इनके घरों में, इनकी उम्र में, ईमान में, रिज़्क़ में बरकतें अता फरमा. अल्लाहुम्मा इन्ना नस्अलुका मिन खैरि मा सअलका मिन्हु नबियुका मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम वनऊज़ु बिका मिन शर्रि मा इस्ताअज़ मिन्हु नबियुका मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम व अंतल मुस्ताअन व अलैकल बलाग ला हौला वला कुव्वता इल्ला बिल्लाह। अल्लाहुम्मा या रब्बी बिजाहि सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद इब्न अब्दुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम इज्मा बैनी व बैनना सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद इब्न अब्दुल्लाह फिद दुनिया व क़ब्ल अल आखिरह। सुब्हानक अल्लाहुम्मा व बिहम्दिका नशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्ला अंता अस्तगफिरुका व अतूबु इलैक व सल्लल्लाहु तआला अला खैरि खल्क़ि मुहम्मद व अला आलिहि व अस्हाबिहि आमीन अजमईन बिरहमतिका या रब। जज़ाकुमुल्लाह खैरन। बहुत शुक्रिया आपके आने का। अल्लाह ताला आपको जज़ा खैर अता फरमाए।
Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, Jazakallah. Thank you for coming. Have a safe journey home. Any questions, you can ask the sisters, the Ustadh's sisters at the back. They will guide you. And if anyone wants to...
I know I'm waiting for something to happen to me. But this waiting comes with trials and challenges. Nothing in life is free. My Lord, show me right from wrong. Give me light, make me strong. I know the road is long. Make me strong. Sometimes it just gets to... लाखों दरूद और लाखों सलाम, लाखों दरूद और लाखों सलाम। जिन्नों मलाइक तेरे गुलाम, जिन्नों मलाइक तेरे गुलाम। लाखों दरूद और लाखों सलाम।